Chapter 450. Until now, my priority was saving Kishir and preventing the calamities I remembered from my previous life, rather than finding out why I returned or how to recover my lost memories. But from now on, both will be of equal priority. Yidhir recalled the image of Kishir in the last dream he had. Even the certainty of his death was now shrouded in uncertainty. He couldn't keep fearing the unknown. His eyes gleamed with a newfound determination. Well, shall we begin anew? Kishir emerged in a robe, laid down on the bed with a cheerful expression, and Yidhir sat in a chair next to him, looking down at his exposed chest and stomach. The warmth still lingering from a recent bath, the scent of the same soap they used wafted from his damp golden hair. Just looking at him was enough to unsettle Yidhir's mind. How should I position myself? Is this okay? Observing the man with his hands clasped on his upper chest, showing no signs of tension, Yidhir frowned. Though graceful, the posture felt rather awkward. It looks like a pose one takes in a coffin. It was not a good pose to adopt, especially in front of someone who had seen him lying in a coffin in that exact position. Just lie down as you usually would when sleeping. There is no need to change your posture. All right. Kishir obediently lowered his hands. Yidhir took a deep breath, feeling Kishir's gaze on him. After several deep breaths to calm his racing heart, he placed his hand on the lower part of Kishir's abdomen and felt the warmth of a living being. It strangely touched a deep part of his soul. The dark red mark on the back of Yidhir's right hand remained unresponsive. Based on previous experiences, the power of the redstone within me seems to manifest not when I want something vaguely, but when I desire it with clear intent. So, was it the same earlier? At that time, though his thoughts had been somewhat hazy, he distinctly remembered what he had wished for. He had wanted to know Kishir deeper, more completely. The sensation of their bodies meeting had been overtaken by that overwhelming desire, and the red light had flown from his hand. When he had previously looked into Kishir, he had initially wanted to gauge the extent of the awakener's power within him. Though not exactly the same, the core desire to know more about Kishir was similar. If that had been the key to invoking the power of the redstone within him, then it should work this time as well. Yes, well, it's somewhat different, but it seems the power within me responds in a similar fashion. Is that so? Kishir's expression changed, tethering on the edge of a smile. Yidhir closed his eyes, focusing on the hand he had placed on Kishir's body. As before, he decided to begin by attempting to see the awakener's power within him. If it hurts, let me know. Kishir responded not to worry, but Yidhir remained cautious. Carefully exhaling, he focused on a single thought, wanting to look deep into the power within Kishir. How long had he focused, concentrating every nerve on the sensations in his right hand? The dark red mark on the back of his hand slowly began to swell and pulse. Yidhir's eyes snapped open, and in that instant, a light flared as if timed to this moment. It was a success. Of course, it wasn't as quick and effortless as when he had briefly glimpsed Kishir's inner workings earlier. The moment the light emanated from Yidhir's hand, a considerable resistance arose within Kishir, attempting to push the light away. Yidhir immediately seized his momentarily faltering right hand with his left, pressing it down. The expression on the face of the reclined Kishir also changed. Still, compared to the first time I saw inside Kishir, the resistance is much weaker. As he strained to maintain control, the skin within the area touched by the red light gradually began to turn oddly transparent. One of the youth's eyes took on a golden hue as a breeze stirred, but he was so intensely focused that he didn't notice. Moments later, the taut resistance finally began to wane. Alongside this, various colorful energies slowly emerged within Kishir as if they had been waiting for this moment. Bright, clear divine power, an aura that moved like blue wind, golden magic energy that branched out like a tree, and finally, the red energy of an awakener that enveloped them all. The four types of energy seemed almost sentient as they moved, each following its own path. The condition doesn't seem to have changed much from before. Some tangled paths remain. Has the amount of magic energy decreased a bit? Yudhir's gaze moved toward the point where the entangled energies were flowing and converging. Near that final destination, the life point, there existed a massive bundle of energy pulsing strongly, as if a second heart. Wrapped in transparent red energy, it was an incredible something that exuded an overwhelming power just by being looked upon. That, right there, was Kishir's vessel. Even after all this time, the sight still filled Yudhir with an immense sense of power. Unlike before, he felt considerably better this time. The eyes that used to hurt just from seeing this direct manifestation of energy were less painful, and he felt less strained. And because he wasn't in pain, he could naturally scrutinize it more clearly and in greater detail. Yudhir waited until he felt all the energies were fully revealed before cautiously speaking. Can you see it? Yes, astonishing. As before, the power revealed by Yudhir's touch was visible to Kishir. Whether it was only visible to him or to the third parties as well remained uncertain, but it was still a significant discovery. The man who had been scrutinizing his own inner workings for the first time looked up to meet Yudhir's gaze. Is there any discomfort or pain? I'm fine, however. Kishir, who had been staring intently at his assistant without even blinking, maintaining a sharp tension behind his emotionless eyes, quietly asked, "Did your eye turn golden again?" Caught off guard by the unexpected question, Yudhir blinked. Pardon? The light is very strong. Looking up at it, it's like a star in the night sky. Yudhir turned his head to look into a small mirror beside the bed. The sight of one eye shining in the dim room was rather eerie. No matter how he looked at it, it was no star. Wasn't like this when I flashed briefly earlier. Is it because I'm actively using the power of the redstone now? Enon's description of that eye as a window to wisdom or something of that sort came to mind. He felt that it had become easier to exert his power here. Perhaps that eye had something to do with it. Yudhir quickly averted his gaze from the mirror and changed the topic. The red energy among these four types is the energy of the awakener. That was the only power I could interact with before, and the largest mass enveloped by that power is probably what I think is your vessel, Commander. I suspected as much, but it's not particularly pleasant to see. I suppose I should be grateful to have at least one ugly part. Kishir chuckled, making a joke. Yudhir did not smile, not even a little. Before, when I touched one of the tangled areas, it was absorbed into me. This time, I won't recklessly touch it. Good. Proving that it can be controlled by will is what's important for now. Let's stop here and withdraw your power. Yudhir nodded and closed his eyes again. A dull pain rang through the back of his hand as his energy waned. The light that had brightened the inside of his eyes also disappeared. Are you all right? Kishir immediately grabbed Either's hand and helped him sit up. Despite lying down, beads of sweat were forming on his forehead. I'm fine. Only after assessing Either's complexion did the man let go of his hand. Either looked down at his own hand before speaking. The power seems to be following my will much better than before. With this, I think I can safely inspect His Majesty's body very soon. There was no more reason for Kishir to object, now that it was proven it could be done. The man, lost in thought and looking down at his body, slowly nodded. Let's discuss this in more detail after we get to the capital. Afterward, Kishir and Either exchanged a few words about the flow and position of the energy existing within his body. Most of it was asking whether the state of the power had been the same when they had seen it before, but even that was enough to gather ample information. It's quite interesting that the Awakener's power envelops the vessel. I haven't been able to see the inside of Llewellyn Sean Apeto, so I can't be certain, but perhaps his insides are similar to mine. Revlin, the third son of the Apeto Duchy, was inherently frail due to a hereditary disease, but became healthy upon awakening, which made him similar to Kishir. This is just my speculation, but I believe the power of the Awakener may share intrinsic properties with all other types of power, Either added.